Well, good evening and welcome to this my prediction slash a little bit of a discussion about what Disney are going to announce next month in August the 10th to be precise, at the D23 Expo in Anaheim, California. Now, D23, for those of you who do not know, is a Disney fan expo. It happens once every 2 years, usually at the Anaheim Convention Center over there in California. But this year it's sort of being divided. So the setup and the booths and the expo itself is going to be in the Anaheim Convention Center, but the panels, which is what people go for, they're going to happen in a 20 odd thousand seat venue up the road, the Honda Center, I believe it's called. You can fact check me there if I'm wrong. But the thing that people go for, the thing that people want to see the most, is the Disney Parks panel, because most Disney fans love the Disney parks. That's why we do what we do. That's why we go out to them, because we are fans of the Disney parks and the Disney experiences. The panel itself this year is called Horizons, the Disney Parks and Experiences panel. And for those of you watching live, please do get involved in the chat. I would really appreciate that. And I will periodically come to the chat, but I will mostly come to the chat at the end. So if anybody's got anything question-wise or anything like that, then please feel free that at the end, because I'm going to try and get through this. Now, I'm not going to predict absolutely everything. I've got a few choice things that I would like to talk about here. And first of all, I think we're going to have to start with the Tropical Americas section that has already been announced for Animal Kingdom over there in Walt Disney World in Florida. Now, Tropical Americas is going to be the replacement for what is currently known as Dinoland USA. Dinoland has Dinosaur the Ride, and it also had some spinning roller coasters called the Primeval Whirl. These were fun. They were taken out a while back, and the area has looked like a rundown car park ever since. So they announced last year at Destination D23, I think they called it, that they were going to be turning that area of the park into Tropical Americas. Tropical Americas is going to feature a re-theme of the of the dinosaur attraction into Indiana Jones. So they're going to get their own version of the Indiana Jones adventure over there in Florida. The ride system is going to stay the same, however. It's going to be the exact same track layout, the exact same ride, but they're just going to change it into the Indiana Jones adventure. But rumor has it that there will be a unique version of the Indiana Jones adventure specifically for Tropical Americas, as the current storyline to the ride won't make much sense at all. So Animal Kingdom is going to get a bit of an upgrade, a bit of a transformation, starting with this Tropical Americas area. So if those of you don't remember, I'm talking to the Disney fans here. It's tough to be a bug. I'm not sure if it's still running, but it was the theatre show Underneath the Tree of Life at Animal Kingdom, and it was based on the Disney Pixar movie A Bug's Life, and it was a mixture of 3D cinema and sort of animatronics would come down from the ceiling. It was pretty fun. It was good, but they decided that has to go now, and they already announced that they're going to replace it with something from Zootopia. So wild speculation here, because if we look at this concept art, it looks like they're not going to change the actual theatre itself. This looks to me like it's going to be a very quick retrofit. They're just going to swap out the film, maybe add a Clawhauser animatronic, stuff like that. So to me, is this cheaping out? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But, concept art looks cool. And I guess that is what Disney want. They want you to be excited for the concept art, of course. So I think that those are going to be the key sort of announcements, shall we say, for Animal Kingdom over there at Walt Disney World. I think they're going to reiterate and reaffirm the Tropical Americas section of the park. For some reason, I haven't gone further on. I should have done. So this is a more broader overview of the tropical Americas area of the park. Um, yes, and sorry, I don't do these things live usually. I record them, so if I stutter and stammer, that's why. The other thing that they're getting is cocoa. So cocoa? See, this is what happens. This is what happens. So no, not cocoa. The casita from that movie, because I'm live, I've completely forgotten the name of. Encanto! That's the one, Encanto. So they're getting a brand new ride based upon the Encanto film. I'm imagining there's going to be a sequel to that movie. It has done absolute gangbusters, both, well, it didn't do too great at the box office, but it did far better since it came to Disney Plus. It is an absolute powerhouse of a movie. And when Disney get absolute powerhouses of movies, you know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to capitalize on it. Because unfortunately, the originality in Disney parks, and this is just speaking to the reality of the situation, the originality in Disney parks, it's gone. I'm a big fan of, let's say, Disneyland Paris's original version of Space Mountain de la Terre à la Lune. Also, a huge fan of Space Mountain Mission 2. I know lots of people would say that's quite controversial, but I really like the soundtrack. I really did like the soundtrack. Maybe it wasn't quite as whimsical, and it wasn't... Well, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. But to then sort of overlay it for the 25th anniversary, which was, checks notes, 7 years ago, with Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain, and then say, well, this overlay is temporary, and then it just never goes away. It's just proof perfect to me that Disney themselves have sort of run out of originality. Things like Big Thunder Mountain, Phantom Manor, or The Haunted Mansion. These things are original, they're not intellectual property, they're not IP, but what they are doing now is they are taking movies that do really well and shoving that intellectual property directly into the parks. And this is a bit of a strange one, because sticking to Animal Kingdom, there is rumor going around that there will be a new, slow boat ride based upon The Lion King, ladies and gentlemen. The Lion King. And we're going to go back into The Lion King a little bit later in this stream. But D23 itself, Josh D'Amaro is the sort of president of Disney Parks and Experiences. And he presents the panel and he brings out some Imagineers. But I just want to speak to the last D23 in 2022 when they did this same thing. They did the Parks and Experiences panel. And it was all what ifs. It was blue sky, concept art. It was, what if we made this? What if we made that? And pretty much none of it, except for one, which we will come on to later, but pretty much none of it has come to fruition. They, like I said, one thing kind of has, but they were like, well, here's Moana. We're going to stick Moana in Animal Kingdom. What if Moana's in Animal Kingdom? Never turned up, did it? Moana turned up in Epcot Center as the Journey of Water, where you get to wave your hands around and splash some water about. It didn't turn into a ride. It just turned into a sort of weird experience. But that is Animal Kingdom for the time being. And I want to jump the Atlantic Ocean with you guys, just for a minute or two, just for a few moments, just for some time, and go over to Paris and to the Walt Disney Studios park at Disneyland Paris, because many, many moons ago now, what seems like an age ago, Walt Disney Studios was said to be getting an expansion. That expansion would include the world of Frozen. which I'm circling up here. A Star Wars Galaxy's Edge light, which I am circling up here. And a large lake, which presumably would have a nice, big Disney nighttime spectacular on it, such as World of Color or, God forbid, that Tokyo version of Fantasmic. I don't know if you ever saw that Tokyo version of Fantasmic, but to me it was just not good. It was not good in any sense of the word. I'm going to refer to the chat just for a second here, because Lisa says, for Paris, you look at the art and then pretend 99% of it doesn't exist. And you know what? Unfortunately, you are kind of right, because already, we'll talk about this in a minute. But we have the world of Frozen, Arendelle, which is actually under construction, ladies and gentlemen. It's only been under construction for about 5 years, but it is under construction, and it is coming along. They were supposed to have it open now, because right now in France, well, next week, the Olympics, Paris 2024, is occurring. So there's going to be a lot of international tourism into France, into Paris especially. And Disney wanted to have, I believe, both of these areas, Frozen and Star Wars, open for the Olympics, to drive that traffic, to drive those international visitors into the Paris resort. Now, they have missed that by a country mile and then some. Absolutely, they have. They've missed that by a country mile. Frozen is still well under construction. It's nowhere near ready. But it is under construction. Now, with the world of Frozen, we are getting a grand total of one ride. And it is unfortunately a clone of a 40-year-old boat ride. Frozen Ever After, which debuted quite some time ago now at Epcot at Walt Disney World in Florida. And it debuted to fanfare. I mean, people were quite annoyed that this thing had taken over the Norway Pavilion and taken over Maelstrom. But it's there. It exists. It is real. And returning to the chat, Lisa says she's so excited for a slow boat ride. And do you know what, Lisa? I think we're all excited for a slow boat ride. And I just, you know what? I think I'm disappointed. I do. Because they've opened the world of Frozen just recently in Hong Kong Disneyland. And it's the same again. It is just the same again. It is Frozen Ever After. I think there is a roller coaster that's like one of the shortest coasters on Earth, called Wandering Oaken Sleds or something along those lines. But it is just a slow, quick figure-8 roller coaster that's getting hour-plus long queues. And it's over, I believe, in under a minute, which is pretty bad. But they're not even putting that in Paris. And despite the long construction process, Frozen Ever After is going to be your lot if you are visiting the Disneyland Paris resort for the world of Frozen. Now let's talk about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Light. Rumored to only have had one ride instead of the 2 rides that the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in both Florida and in California have. This was meant to be Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Now, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance is one of the most, if not the most, advanced ride on the planet. It is a trackless dark ride. It runs across multi-levels. It goes up fast elevators. It locks itself into a simulator-style pod, which then drops to get you back down to ground level. It is a really, really advanced ride with a lot of moving parts. But once again, as Lisa says in our chat, rest in peace, because guess what, boys and girls? No, 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 no. When Star Wars Galaxy's Edge failed, and I use that term because it's true, when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge failed at Disney's Hollywood Studios and Disneyland Park in California, and it didn't draw in the types of crowds and the audiences that they wished for it to draw in, they took a look again and they said, well, we can't repeat this mistake a third time. They cannot repeat this mistake a third time. So it's been scrapped. And as I said, from the announcement to now, all of this should be open. This should all be open already. But it's not. It's not even anywhere near ready. And it seems like currently, in place of the, I guess, Star Wars land, they've chucked Disney fans a bone by giving them a tangled spinning ride. A little ride based upon Rapunzel and Flynn and the boats and the lanterns, and it's going to be all lovely, and that's not going to be in any descript area. That is going to be within the actual main alleyway here. With so it's going to sit about here, where I've got the mouse on the screen there, and that is the bone that people are being thrown as we speak. So, what is going to become that third land, you ask? What is going to become that third land? I say third because the first land was technically Avengers Campus, which has been open for a good few years now, and was really just a retheme of an area, and they chucked in one new ride, I guess, the Spider-Man ride. But what is going to, rumoured to be replacing this Star Wars land is The Lion King. We're back with The Lion King once again. It looks like Walt Disney Imagineering, the Walt Disney Company, are working on multiple Lion King boat ride concepts. And I say boat ride because that is the rumor. The rumor is this is going to be some kind of boat ride, some kind of log flume. But we won't know if this gets announced or if it's real or if it comes to pass until D23 in, well, less than a month's time from now. Because it does appear that Disneyland Paris is not going to get snubbed this time. Usually, we get snubbed. Our little European park, it gets snubbed. They say, no, we're not giving you anything. Absolutely not. Because Disneyland Park, the main jewel in the crown, should we say, the reason people go to Disneyland Paris, has not had a new ride installed since, I want to say 1994, when Space Mountain was installed. De la Terre à la Lune was installed in the Disneyland Park. And Space Mountain was a big thrill ride. It was the first, I believe the second technically, Disney roller coaster to go upside down. The other one is Indiana Jones, which is in the same park. Well, I say the other one. They've got a few now. But they installed Space Mountain, and then they sort of did a retheme, a retrofit, to install Buzz Lightyear's Laser Blast in the early 2000s. I don't class that as a new ride. But other than that, Disneyland Park has been absolutely snubbed. They have left that thing to sort of fade into 90s obscurity. And don't get me wrong, that park is beautiful. It's probably one of, if not maybe the second most beautiful theme park on the planet. The detail is absolutely stunning, but they have left it, and it is just left in this sort of 90s time loop, this 90s time capsule. They've not improved on it. They've not added any new rides. Yes, they're doing very well with the entertainment, and things like the Electrical Sky Parade are absolutely great, but not really added anything new. So what are the rumours, pray tell, for our wonderful, Jesus Christ, Disneyland Park. I'm going to just put that there and leave that there. Well, it doesn't look like there's much, to be honest. People say that there might be a new Star Wars expansion that was supposed to be in the other park moving into the main park. Right now, I just don't see it, and I hope to be wrong. I really, really do. I hope to be wrong indeed. So, let's move on then. Let's move on to Disneyland in California. Because it looks like they might possibly finally get their announcement proper for their Avengers e-ticket attraction, which was meant to be a phase 2 to the Avengers campus over there, and I believe it was meant to come to Paris as well. There's certainly a big space where it could go, put it that way, over in Paris. But it looks like the King Thanos multiverse attraction might actually get announced proper this time. We've seen this concept art for well over a year now. We've been looking at it going, is this going to happen? Looks like it might. So hopefully that gets announced proper, and also we get an announcement for something in the Avengers campus over in Disneyland Paris. And then for final resorts, I want to talk quickly about Tokyo. Now, Tokyo Disneyland, I'm not talking about Shanghai, and I'm not talking about Hong Kong, because they've just had two major expansions, should I say. Sorry, once again, I'm live. But they've had two major expansions. They've had Zootopia over in Shanghai, and they've had World of Frozen just opened over in Hong Kong. So let's talk about Tokyo. And Tokyo Disneyland are what I like to call, what I like to call the mad lads of the theme park world. Because they're not owned by Disney. They're owned by the Oriental Land Company. And they pay a licensing fee to Disney for the Disney Resort name. And they build the most stunning, expensive, amazing, detailed Disney experiences that there are in the world. They've just opened Fantasy Springs over in Tokyo Disney Sea, something, well, Tokyo Disney Sea itself is just something I wish to see before I pass away, because it looks like such a beautiful park. But right now, the only couple of bits, and I forgot to grab a bit of concept art for one of them actually, the only bits that I can see coming down the pipeline are maybe the details given for the brand new Space Mountain that they are building over there in Tokyo Disneyland. Right now, Space Mountain, the final ignition is going on, but that doesn't mean that the other Space Mountain isn't already under construction, because this is well under construction behind the current Space Mountain. So the only reason they're closing this one now is because they have to get it out of the way. They have to demolish the current Space Mountain. They have to put these beautiful planters and this plaza, you can see here in front of it, in place. And that is exactly where the current Space Mountain is. So people thought this might be built by Vekoma, because Vekoma usually build Disney's roller coasters, but it looks like it's being built by Intamin, which has my interest peaked, because Intamin they're building some of the best roller coasters in the world at the moment. That's a fact. They are currently building the tallest and fastest roller coaster in the world in Falcon's Flight at Six Flags Qiddiya. But they just do special track elements. I mean, Intamin are the ones that created the drop track. They are the ones that created, well, plenty of the swing launch. The swing launch was created by Intamin. So there could be plenty of special elements inside this Space Mountain, and I do not expect it to just be a standard going around in circles like Magic Kingdom or Disneyland in Anaheim. I expect this thing probably to have inversions, probably to be more of a thrill coaster than what the original version was. And I also expect, as it is OLC, Oriental Land Company, for it to look exactly like this concept art when it's ready. Because that's what OLC do. They design it, they have the Imagineers design it, and they say how much to build it just like that. And Imagineers give them a price, and OLC just basically write them a blank check, and they build the best Disney parks. That is the truth. I mean, life goals: get over to Tokyo Disneyland. Road trip goals, as Lisa says there in the chat. And it just leaves me with one more little thing to hint on, but something I think I want to do a separate video or stream about in the future. And that's Disney Cruise Lines. Because this is another thing I would really like to experience. I would really love to go on a Disney cruise. And they are launching at least one new ship, the Disney Treasure. And there's plenty more in the Wish class of ships to come. But these things are extremely immersive. They are insane. I mean, the cost to go on them is just something that neither I or pretty much anyone I know could afford right now. But life goals. Hashtag life goals. So that's a brief overview of some of the things that I expect will be announced. I think we'll have far more than that. They'll talk about the test track reimagining at Epcot. They'll probably announce Beyond Big Thunder Mountain. Now, I didn't bother putting the Beyond Big Thunder concept art in here. That was on purpose. Actually, I'm wrong. I did do it. But there it is. Beyond Big Thunder Mountain. Beyond Big Thunder Mountain was a blue sky concept that they announced. Oh my god. Thank you so much for the super chat there, Lisa. Hashtag cruise buddies indeed. we've got to go on a cruise. That's right. We do. We've got to go on a Disney cruise. It's life goals. Tokyo Disneyland. I also believe, and this is just a theory right now, and I might have already been confirmed, I don't know, but Tokyo themselves are going to get into the Disney cruise business. Natalie says, never fancied a cruise. Natalie, I think once we show you Disney cruises, you'll probably change your mind there. You probably will indeed change your mind. So I've waffled on about that for long enough. Now, would you guys like to chuck anything in the chat before I get out of here? So, Tokyo Disneyland, yes, indeed, Natalie. Natalie, my goal is to do them all. I want to see Hong Kong Disneyland. I want to see Shanghai. I mean, maybe want to see Shanghai because, you know, China and laws and all of that. I want to see Tokyo for sure. Anaheim, I want to see. I haven't done Walt Disney World in nearly 20 years. Disney Sea is indeed, just looking at videos and images, it is so beautiful, Lisa. It is, as far as I'm concerned, looking at it, it is the most beautiful and most detailed Disney park in the world. It absolutely is. Right then, I think that this has been long enough. We've been get in, get the information in, get out. Half an hour. I'm quite happy with that. So what I will say to you guys is this. If you are not subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing so. Like the stream. We really would appreciate that. And also, you can consider becoming a channel member from just 99 pence a month to really help us out as we grow this platform. Create things like accessibility guides, which we've been doing. There's free full accessibility guides here on the channel already. One for Disneyland Park at Disneyland Paris. One for Walt Disney Studios at Disneyland Paris. And, of course, Thorpe Park in Chertsey, Surrey. And speaking of British parks, stick with the channel because there will soon be a vlog recorded in the next couple of days from Chessington World of Adventures, where I shall be going with my wife and a couple of friends. So we're going to vlog that and we'll see what we can see. So plenty to come, and we will speak to you again real soon. I really did enjoy this, just getting my thoughts out, having a little rant and showing off some of this beautiful concept art. Have a wonderful night, day, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are.